president satisfied with the pace of the federal response there on the ground, and why has he so far decided not to visit?
So a couple of things there, and I said this at the top. The president, first of all, when the derailment happened on February 3rd, as I said at the top, the Environmental Protection Agency was on the ground within hours, and that is, I think I've mentioned, 2 a.m. the next morning on February 4th, really taking charge and dealing with what was occurring in East Palestine. And look, very early on as well, the president reached out to both governors of Pennsylvania and Ohio, that is Governor DeWayne of Ohio and Governor Shapiro as well. And he offered the federal assistance and also directed his team to stay on top of this as long as it took. And just a couple of days ago, we read out a conversation that the president, he's been getting briefed pretty regularly, but just recently we read out conversations that he had with Governor DeWine, Governor Shapiro, Senator Brown, EPA Administrator Regan, and Congressman Johnson while he was in Poland. So he was still working and getting updates and focusing on what was happening in East Palestine while he was doing incredibly important work, as you all know, in Poland. And he reaffirmed his commitment to make sure they have everything that they need. Again, this has been a multi-agency engagement here. When you think about CDC, you think about DOT, you think about FEMA, you think about EPA, they have all been on the ground, working in lockstep, working with the local officials on the ground, including the governor and the senators as well, making sure that we delivered and continue to deliver for the people of East Palestine. That will not stop, and that will continue until we are needed on the ground.
My question, though, was whether the president was satisfied with that response. Is he?
Yes, he is. Look, we believe that when you think about how this response occurred, right, how it's been going from literally since 2 a.m. February 4th, you've seen the EPA on the ground. You saw Administrator Regan doing a great job on the ground, making sure that he was with the community, taking questions, working with the governor. You've heard from the governor directly, Governor DeWine, actually speak to the federal response that he truly appreciated the work that we have done for the community. So yes, the president is certainly again staying updated on what is occurring on the ground, but also appreciative of the work that his multi-agencies have been doing over the past several weeks.
The mayor of East Palestine said that it was a slap in the face that the president had gone to Ukraine before he went to East Palestine. Does the president have any reaction to those comments?
Look, I'll say this, and I kind of said this at the top already, which is, I laid out what we have done since the derailment of February 3rd and how we were on the ground very early on. And we believe that we have had all of government, all hands approach to this, not just with the agencies, but also with the different teams here in the White House. If you think about the Intergovernmental Affairs, you think about Office of Leg Affairs, and also the National Security Council have been all hands on deck. And that is because of this president's leadership. And that is because of what he has asked his team to do and what he has asked the agencies to do. So look, we're going to hold Norfolk Southern accountable, as I've mentioned. They've been investigating what caused the derailment, monitoring for environmental and health impacts, and screening over 550 homes, as I mentioned. EPA has ordered the railroad company to clean up its mess and pay for all expenses. And if it doesn't, the EPA said that they will make the company pay 3 times more. And Secretary Buttigieg has also written to Norfolk Southern to make clear that the industry's pattern of resisting safety regulations must change. And he's calling on the industry and Congress to join the administration in implementing that approach. So look, and as you all know, as I mentioned, Secretary Buttigieg is on the ground right now. He's getting an update, and we've had, again, multiple agencies on the ground. The president has stayed updated on this for the past several weeks. While he was in Poland, he spoke to the important folks on the ground, the leadership leadership on the ground, including his leadership in those respective agencies, on what was going on and getting updates, and he will continue to do that and do everything that we can.
Has the president spoken to the mayor of East Palestine, or does he have any plans?
I don't have a call to read out or a planned conversation. I can tell you, as I've mentioned before, the president has spoken to Governor DeWine of Ohio and Governor Shapiro of Pennsylvania, and has had regular contact. Our teams have had regular contact, and you've heard directly from Governor DeWine about our federal response and how we've been working in lockstep with the local government on the ground.
Is the president going to go to Ohio, Kareem?
I don't have at this time. I don't have anything to read out or announce on a travel to Ohio. But once again, we've had EPA on the ground, we've had DOT. Secretary Buttigieg is there today. We've had FEMA, we've had HHS, CDC. I mean, we have had a multi-agency approach to this. That's how important it is to this president to make sure that East Palestine residents get what they need to deal with the situation that's currently happening.
Following up on East Palestine, can you at least, I know you can't say that the president has plans to go there now, but is it in discussion that the president may go there in the near future?
I just don't have anything to share. I know there's a lot of interest on that.
I mean, I guess the question, for folks there, though, at least to say it's in discussion, has it been something that's even under consideration?
I mean, I think what folks should understand and what folks should, I think, feel at ease is that the president has taken this very seriously. Hours after the derailment occurred, you saw, again, the EPA on the ground. And you're seeing a multi-agency reaction to this because the president had promised not just the people of East Palestine, but also to their governors, to their leadership, that we would be on the ground for as long as it takes to make sure that the community has what it needs. And, you know, you have seen that. You've seen the administrator on the ground with the governor on the ground. You've seen them talking to the community. Again, Secretary Pete was just there, again, meeting with the mayor, the mayor there, and continuing to do.
Was Secretary Pete there at the president's direction?
Look, the Secretary Pete went because he believed that it was important for him to go there at this time, and you know, it is. It is.
Time to go? He said he wanted to go at the right time. Was this the right time? Even he today had some reservations about whether he met the right balance.
Look, I think it was important. I think what's important is that he was there. I think what's important is that we saw Secretary of the Department of Transportation there. I do want to say one thing though, which is there's been a lot of bad faith attacks on Secretary Buttigieg. And the reason why we believe it's bad faith is, if you remember Elaine Chao, she was the head of Department of Transportation, and when there was these types of chemical spills, nobody was calling for her to be fired, and nobody was calling for what they're calling on Secretary Pete. It is pure politics. It's pure political stunts, what they're doing. You have seen an administration that has, because of the leadership of this president, that's taken action, and multi-agency action to deal with the needs that we're seeing on the ground with the community of East Palestine. So on Ohio for a second. So Elaine Chao, who was the head of the Environmental Protection Agency, when she had to deal with DOT, pardon me, no one called her out, right? When you think about the chemical spills, it is something that the Environmental Protection Agency has to deal with, right? They are the ones who have to take leadership, and that's what you've seen. That's what you've seen from February 4th until now, which is Environmental Protection Agency taking charge. So Secretary Buttigieg being there now, he's not, the Department of Transportation is not leading this effort. It's the Environmental Protection Agency. Just wanted to be very, very clear on that, and that is why the attacks that we are seeing on Secretary Buttigieg is really just in bad faith.
Quick follow-up on Peter's question on Ohio. The president has said many times, in his own words, that he likes to provide comfort to Americans who are grieving, Americans who are in crisis. Has he expressed interest in or the intention to provide that kind of support to East Palestinians? Does he want to provide that support to
Of
them?
course, he's the president of the United States. He's the president for red and blue states. He, of course, wants to provide that support. That's what he's been doing. That's why you've seen the Environmental Protection Agency administrator on the ground. That's why you're seeing Secretary Buttigieg on the ground providing that support. And not just those two agencies, other agencies as well, making sure that the East Palestine community are getting what they need at this difficult time. And so this is a president that understands what people are going through when they're going through hardships. He understands that personally, and that's why he's getting updates regularly, and that's why he has made sure that we've had this type of reaction since practically almost day one, hours within the derailment. And so we'll continue to do that. He has said multiple times, I have said multiple times that the president is going to continue to be there for the people, the community of East Palestine, for as long as it's needed, for as long as it takes.
But does he not want to do it directly in
I think,
person himself?
but I think offering the assistance, offering the help is doing it directly. When you're seeing the federal government on the ground providing the assistance that is needed, that is doing it directly. That's doing it. They're doing it on the direction of the president. That multi-agency, what we have been able to do over the past couple of weeks, that is because of the direction of the president. And we have seen that not just for these types of situations, but others as well. Of course, our hearts go out for the people of Palestine and their community, the community, and what they're going through right now. This is why the president continues to be updated every single day, and has called again for not just the agencies, but for the teams here at the White House to make sure that we are working closely with local government and state government to make sure that we are delivering for the community, and not just in Ohio. Remember, there is Pennsylvania as well, who we've been in touch with the governor there as well.
First of all, the president frequently visits the sites of many natural and man-made disasters, and this situation in East Palestine has clearly required a multi-agency response from the federal and the state level. So I guess I'm just struggling to understand why the president wouldn't go to East Palestine. Does it simply not meet the bar for a presidential visit?
Look, I want to be very clear here. There's no reason to struggle, I don't think, on this question. I think when you look at how the federal agencies have responded from day one and took this very seriously and reacted within hours of the derailment and was on the ground. This is the Environmental Protection Agency. As I was saying, they are the ones that deal with these types of chemical spills. They're the ones that are the leaders on this. And it didn't stop with the environmental. You're right there, buddy?
It's my family, but everyone's okay.
Okay. What was that?
It's a little family tune.
Oh, it's pretty good tune there. Oh, all right. Peter Alexander getting down with his phone. Okay. So, and it didn't stop. What I want to say is that it didn't stop with the Environmental Protection Agency. Again, FEMA,
Yeah,
CDC.
but that's all different from a presidential visit.
No, I want to be very clear here. I don't have anything to share on a presidential visit, not at this time, or anything to announce, but it does matter that the president put forth a multi-agency kind of reaction to this, taking it seriously.
Showing up, right?
Look, showing up is having the Environmental Protection Administrator on the ground. Showing up is having the DOT Secretary on the ground to talk about what is the next process, holding to account the company that caused the spill. That's what you're seeing from Secretary Buttigieg today. Showing action is also seeing that HHS, CDC, FEMA, all of these guys are on the ground at the direction of this president. So that is taking this very seriously. When the president was in Poland, he took calls and called and reached out and got updates from his leadership in those agencies, and he continued to make sure that he was talking to to the governors of Pennsylvania and Ohio, Governor DeWine and Shapiro. That matters. That's what leadership looks like, and leadership matters as well. And that's what you're seeing instead of political stunts that we're seeing from the other side. Look, people have been talking about regulation and deregulation. One of the things, we've been hearing from the other side, we've been hearing from the GOP about how now they're interested, all of a sudden they are interested in the safety of East Palestine, when they have for years have been in lockstep with the retail lobby, in lockstep, making sure that they think that the safety, they were stopping or repealing the common sense safety laws that would, help in this situation. I understand that it maybe we're waiting to see the investigation. Maybe it would have helped or not helped, but it doesn't matter. What matters is there is real, true ways to create safety as it relates to rail, and they've been against that for years against that in the lockstep with rail lobbyists. And so there is a false comparison here, and we're just going to have to call that out.